Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, June 6th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, joined by the People's Champ, Matt Baxendell. Bax, a lot of the incoming freshmen for Ohio State moved in over the weekend. Not all of them. Classes do not begin until next Monday, a week from today, June 13th. But a lot of them moved in a week early to get acclimated, to get a week in of Mickey Marotti's summer conditioning program, because as everybody knows, Mickey Marotti's summer conditioning program is a lot of fun. But no, I credit these guys that are moving in early, like Nick Bosa. We're going to start with the offense, though. Of the freshmen who have moved in or will move in this week, so the guys, not the guys that enrolled in January, the guys that participated in spring ball, we'll take those guys off the table. Of the offensive players, who are you most excited about for this fall for the Buckeyes of those freshmen?
Well, first things first, I'm glad they get a week ahead of actually starting classes to figure things out. My first week at OSU, I moved in early. It was one of the Owls, and I spent most of the week going to parties and thinking college was the greatest thing ever until school started. I think their experience is going to be just slightly different. I think Mickey Marotti may have a party on their asses about beating the heck out of them in the weight room and welcoming them to college this week. So hopefully they can all feel okay the next day. But that said, there's only one name for me on offense that we're going to talk about this week that is at the top of my interest chart, and that is Benjamin Victor. I have been talking about this young man for a couple of years now. To me, I remember going to FNL a couple summers ago, seeing Torrance Gibson and saying he's a receiver, and then seeing Benjamin Victor going, and that's a finished product at receiver. Benjamin Victor, to me, is one of the two guys on this roster that has NFL written all over him with that 6'4" frame, his ability to high point the football. He is one of those guys that between he and Torrance Gibson, they may be the two most talented pure receivers on the roster. I cannot wait to see what Victor can contribute. And remember, this is a guy that everybody wanted from down south. And it was a recruitment that it looked for a while like OSU wasn't going to end up winning. Remember, he was ready to commit to Florida last summer, and OSU got him to hold off on the commitment. And now he's a Buckeye. I am pumped about Benjamin Victor. And it's a position at wide receiver right now where who the heck knows who's going to catch the ball this year. So there's one name coming in this week that I'm excited about. That's it right there.
Yeah, there you go, because a lot of the other guys that are going to contribute perhaps on the offensive side of the ball as true freshmen are guys that have already enrolled, guys like Austin Mack, Antonio Williams, Michael Jordan, who might be a starter, which is a little hard to believe, but he's that good, and they have that need at guard, as you and I have talked about. All right, a little bit of an easier question. You can name a few guys. Of the defensive guys who have moved in over the weekend or will move in over this next week, who are you most excited about?
This is such a cheap question because I'm just, you know who I'm going to say, right? I mean,
right.
Of course we're going to say,
we're
going to say Nick Bosa. You can say Nick Bosa here. I mean, come on. I mean, that's like the easiest question you've ever asked. Hi, younger brother, a guy who just went third overall in the NFL, 5-star recruit. Which one are we going to pick?
Well, name more than one. Name more. That's what the caveat is. Name more than one, because of course you're going to name who's going to be a future stud in Nick Bosa. But beyond that, name more than one, and also talk about this. One thing, everybody talks about Nick Bosa's high school film is better than Joey's at the same stage, and I completely agree with that. I checked that out myself a couple of months ago to see, is that really the truth? And Joey's high school film was very good. Nick's was better, so he is better at the same stage, but coming back off of an ACL, any trepidation there? Talk about that, and then maybe another guy or two that you're excited about on the defensive side of the ball that's coming in.
Well, yeah, you hit the nail on the head about the ACL. Joey Bosa came into college, and there was no concerns about his mobility. There's no major surgery just a couple of months before he got there. So you're right, there is a concern there, and trying to be essentially playing a grown man's role down in the trenches with the amount of experience that the poor guy has had. It's going to be hard, but I think if there's anybody with the bloodlines for it, let's just say that we got to lean back on Nick Bosa being the man there. But defensively this year, OSU had one of those classes where you're right. There are so many guys who enrolled that you could pick literally from a list. I mean, let's go down the list of guys who were coming in this week. It is insane thinking about all the talent that OSU's brought in this year. I mean, like if you're Ohio State's coaching staff, which by the way, everybody should check out Urban Meyer. He had a tweet that came out about welcoming the parents, which I thought was one of the coolest things I've seen in a while, and actually interviewed Nick Bosa's dad saying, Joey clearly made the best of his opportunity here. I'm hoping all these other guys do too. How many schools do that? I mean, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but that to me is one of those things that sort of sets Ohio State apart, where they're talking about like, you know, the coaches are excited to have all these players here, but they're really excited about the parents being part of it. So, anyways, defensive guys that you have to be pumped about coming in this year. First of all, I think you have to talk about Keandre Jones. All right? Remember when Urban Meyer called him a future captain the day he signed? Remember? I've never seen something like that. This is a guy who they flipped away from Maryland, somebody who didn't exactly have long-term Ohio State ties, right? And you think somebody's a future captain. Oh, he's got to bleed Ohio State colors, you know? He's got to bleed scarlet and gray. The guy was flipped from Maryland a couple weeks before signing day, and Urban's talking about him as a captain. So for me, I know we're utterly loaded at linebacker this year, but Keandre Jones has my attention in the fullest. Then, okay, here's the pun for you, but Jordan Fuller is another guy you have to be paying attention to right now. I don't have the same fear about safety as I did a few months ago, but I will say this right now about Jordan Fuller. He could easily force his way into the field as a true freshman. And then finally, defensive players, one other name that I really am interested to see how it ends up working out is our buddy Rajay Burns. Remember him? He was one of those guys who wasn't as highly rated. You flipped him from Louisville. You're thinking, is this one of those guys that we're going to have in this class that, you know, we just need numbers for? No, the coaches like the way he developed. And I feel like every year Ohio State finds a kid who's a three-star kid. He's an afterthought kind of kid. And one of those kids ends up playing right away and panning out. So keep an eye on Mr. Burns. I'm excited to see how he does.
And speaking of things said by Urban Meyer on signing day, he mentioned, I asked him the question, how many true freshmen in a perfect world would you like to play this year? And he said 18. And, I almost smirked. I'm glad I didn't, because he was dead serious. And there's no way in hell that 18 true freshmen are going to play. But I did ask him, in a perfect world, I'm sure he would say he knows 18 are not going to play. Give me your prediction. Give me an exact number. How many true freshmen will play for the Buckeyes this fall?
All right, well, let's just do this. Austin Mack, 1. Michael Jordan, 2. Antonio Williams, 3. I'm going to say Malik Barrow gets on this year. I know he had his injury as well, but I think he enrolled early. It's going to be a big thing, so we'll say 4. Nick Bosa, 5. I'm going to say Demario McCall, 6. Keandre Jones, 7. Benjamin Victor, 8. And then Jordan Fuller, 9. And then I can't forget about Malcolm Pridgeon, so 10. And then pick one of the tight ends, Houseman or Farrell. That's 11 right there.
But
so
Pridgeon,
let's go with 11.
We'll talk about Pridgeon in a second. He's not a freshman, but go ahead.
No, we're counting him. It's his first year at OSU.
We're not,
Come on, we
he's
count
not a
him.
freshman. The question
I know he's not a freshman. He's like 23, but still, we got to count him. His first year as a Buckeye.
No, we're not counting him as a freshman. We're counting him as a junior.
Fine. I wish we could count him as a freshman, get a couple more years eligibility out of that monster, but yeah, I'm going to go with 12. I'm going to go with 12. I know that's extremely high, extremely stupid based upon the history we've seen with Ohio State, where Urban Meyer says we don't redshirt, but all we do is redshirt. But this is one of those years where a lot of players are going to get on the field because there's so many jobs open. And I know jobs are won in the spring. There's still so many young guys in so many open positions. So I'm going to go with an insanely high number and say it doesn't.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is 12 will play. We'll see, because they need a lot to play. There's going to be injuries. There could be guys that don't step up to the plate, that are older guys that they expect will play well, and I do think 12 true freshmen will play. So only 66%, only two-thirds of the number that Urban wants to play, but there's no way they're going to get to 18. I agree with you. There will be a full dozen true freshmen that will play. Okay, as you mentioned, Malcolm Pridgeon, he will not enroll this week. He's not going to move in this week. He still needs to finish his associate's degree at his community college on Long Island. He will enroll in July. That is the plan right now. Talk about Malcolm Pridgeon a little bit, and presuming that everything, is okay academically and everything I'm hearing, he's going to be fine. Maybe you can comment on that. What role do you expect that he will play for the Buckeyes this fall, Bax?
Well, he's the ultimate wild card on the offensive line. I mean, let's look at it this way. Going down the stretch, Ohio State did not need an offensive lineman in this recruiting class. Ohio State was certainly not looking for an upperclassman, junior college kind of person necessarily to be on the offensive line. If anything, they were looking for a D tackle that they could bring in as a junior college transfer. Pridgeon came to campus because OSU staff was very high on him, and they wanted to see if he was worth what they saw at the hype. And then he came to campus, and OSU staff fell in love with him. And that's how he ended up getting his offer to become a Buckeye. Before that, everybody thought he was headed off to Baylor. So, hey, good for him. I mean, there's a bullet dodged if there ever was one. But Pridgeon is...
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, don't afraid for him. Yeah, next time you interview him, Dave, be like, hey, how happy you're here instead of at Baylor. I mean, hey, good for you, man. Jackpot. But, the way I look at it is that he is the wild card. He is the wild card because right now you got Jamarco Jones locked in at left tackle. You've got Billy Price locked in as one of the guards, and then you got Pat Elflein locked in as the center. There's this big fight right now about whether or not you're going to have, Dimitri Knox, is going to be Michael Jordan at the guard position, because everybody thinks Isaiah Prince is pretty locked in as the right tackle. In fact, I don't want to speak for you, but most of us thought he was going to be the left tackle this year. But now that Pridgeon's coming in, Pridgeon's that junior college guy, 2 years of eligibility. Clearly he's not coming here to sit on the bench. And he's the kind of guy who could come in as a, pardon my French, but a grown-ass man and come in and play right tackle right away. All right, so he could come in and shake this whole equation up. And the real question is going to be, is if he's so good as to get on the field and be a starter right away, or if he's so good that he's neck and neck with Isaiah Prince and is one of the top 5 offensive linemen, did they go to the old Bowman strategy and put your best 5 guys on the field? And does that push Knox? Does that push Matthew Burrell? Does that push Jordan back by moving one of your tackles down to guard? Because, as Dwayne Long says, you always want to move down from tackle, not out to tackle. So, he's the wild card. And we're talking about the offensive line in camp this fall. What I'm interested to see is what Malcolm Pridgeon's impact is going to be. Because he's 6'8", he's 320 pounds. He was one of the top junior college players in the country. He's not coming here to watch like you and me from the sidelines. Well, I mean, I'd take a sideline seat. Mine won't be that good. But still, you know what I mean? Like, the guy's not coming here to watch. He's coming here to play. And first of all, I don't expect the academic thing to be an issue. I think it's just getting through the JUCO requirements. If he comes here and he gets on campus, I think he's going to make an impact. I think he's going to find a way on the field in some way, shape, or form. That may shake up the whole calculus of the O-line that we largely think is set. People were forgetting about him a lot during the spring, and I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, and I, just to be clear, that's the same thing I'm hearing, is that everything is fine academically. For those who might be worried about it, this was the plan all along. Ohio State's coaches always knew that he would not be finished until July. So, and we're hearing not only, was that the plan all along, but, he will get his associate's degree in July and will enroll at Ohio State at that point. Great stuff, as always, out of the People's Champ, Matt Baxendell. Thank you, Bax. You can catch his column every Sunday. The Bucket of Bullets, it's still pinned to the front row message board right now for subscribers. Make sure you check that out. If you're not a Bucknuts subscriber, make sure you take advantage of our free until the football season starts deal. That's 3 months of Bucknuts for free, and then just $9.95 per month after that. So make sure you check out our free until the football season begins deal while it still lasts. I can't believe 24/7 Sports is doing that, but they are that crazy, so take advantage of that. Thanks again to the People's Champ, Matt Baxendell. Thank you to the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. Let's hear some Buckeye swag. Best damn band in the land.